All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new movie review. And today, I am reviewing none other than Disney's Haunted Mansion. All right, so let's talk about this movie here. Now, I have been seeing trailers for this for the last couple of months, and it piqued my interest. And I was wondering, was this going to be that good of a film? Now, I watched a few reviews, and I didn't see anything spoilerish, and I am not going to spoil anything in this review as far as the movie goes. So it will be spoiler-free. Now, I went into this expecting it to be a decent movie, but not really a good movie. Well, the good news is it's more than just a good movie. So it surpasses what I was expecting and then some. Now, we have a great cast of characters, and the first thing I do want to talk about is the cast of characters here, and I want to make sure I include everybody that I'm about to talk about here. So you have Lakeith Stanfield, who is the main star of this film. And I'm going to tell you, he did a fantastic job in his character. He plays Ben Mathias in this film. I'm not going to tell you anything about his character. I'm not going to tell you anything about him and his background because you'll find that out in the film. But there have been a few movies in the past where the performances really struck me on a pretty good note. And the last time I felt this kind of a performance from somebody was when I saw The Rocketeer back in, I think it was 1991. Bill Campbell in that movie, in The Rocketeer, you get a sense of him really being that character. And I really felt like Lakeith Stanfield really put his heart and soul into this character in this film. He was definitely the standout. You have Rosario Dawson in this film. You have Owen Wilson. You have Tiffany Haddish. You have Jamie Lee Curtis, Danny DeVito, Jared Leto. And there's others. Like, this movie is chock full of a colorful group of people. Now, I want to get into spoilers, but I'm not going to get into spoilers. I want everybody to be able to go in and enjoy this movie on their own. This movie has a story to it, and that's what really was interesting. The story was well written. It was well executed. My only one complaint from the film is it was a little too long. Okay, this movie does clock in at almost exactly 2 hours. And they easily could have taken about 15 minutes out of it. And this has to do with, how the group gets together at the beginning. And then you have the middle part where they're trying to figure out what's happening. And then with the resolution of the film. And when they're trying to figure out what's happening, like, it could have been cut down. There is no question about it. They could have figured out what was happening a lot sooner and quicker than they did, which would have made the pacing a little bit better. That is my one and only complaint of the film. I think all the acting was great. I don't really like humor much in films. This movie was not a total joke fest, which was great because the trailer made it seem like it was going to be a joke fest, and it wasn't. There were some jokes in there, but nothing like stupid silly. It was actually quite a bit of fun and very interesting. So the performances were great. The music was great. The special effects were great. There are things that are taken directly off of the ride. There are some things that are going to make you smile if you're familiar with the ride. It's one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. I've probably been on it over a dozen times, and you are definitely going to smile when you watch this film and you see how they incorporate the actual ride into the film, and it's some pretty cool stuff. So at the end of the day, this summer has been interesting. The only film I've been somewhat disappointed with this summer was Shazam 2. That movie was just too goofy, too silly, way more silly than the first one. That's the only time I've walked out of the theater so far this summer where I've been somewhat disappointed. All the other films that I've seen, and not all of the films that I've seen have been hits, although they should be. And there are reasons why that's happening. But regardless of that, I haven't walked out of the theater disappointed, but this is one of the biggest surprises I've had this summer going to the theater. I went with my wife, my two youngest, and we all loved it. We all walked away going, wow, that is not what we expected. It's more adult-oriented than you might think, and it was great to see these characters interact and figure out exactly what was happening. And so kudos to Disney for doing something right. This is how you do it right. And the music was great. The execution was well done. Like I said, it's just the pacing and the length could have been trimmed down just a little bit. But hats off to Stanfield. Like, the guy nailed it. He really nailed it, and you could feel it in the film. Like, he really did a great job. Everybody did a great job in their roles. It was great to see Jamie Lee Curtis in her role. There was just a really fun group of characters, and I'll kind of explain who each of these characters is. And I'm not going to explain how they interact or what happens, but I'm going to explain who they are. So let me pull up this list again, and I'm just going to quickly go over. So Lakeith Stanfield plays a guy who has equipment that can capture ghosts. Rosario Dawson is the new owner of the property. You have Owen Wilson, who plays a priest in the film. Tiffany Haddish plays Harriet. She is a psychic in the film. And Rosario Dawson does have a son, Chase Dillon. He did a great job in his role, too. He played Travis, which was her son. You have Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm not going to tell you who she plays. Danny DeVito plays... I'll let you see who Danny DeVito is in the film as well. I'm not going to give anything away there. And then I'm not going to tell you who Jared Leto plays, because it's going to come together very nicely in the film. But a great cast, a great job by Disney. I have to give them hats off. I hope people go to see this movie. If you're interested at all, this is not stupid silly like the last film. This is a well thought out, well executed, good story film. So out of 5 stars at the end of the day, I do give this film 4 stars. If they could have fixed the pacing and shortened the film just a little bit, they would have had a perfect film. There wouldn't have been anything to really pick apart. So it's great. You could take the whole family. It's a good family film. I think it is rated PG-13. Little kids, there's certain things I don't know. I don't know that little kids would really enjoy this. There are a few scares in the film and a few images and imagery that might creep little kids out. But hey, I think anybody probably 10 and above would really enjoy this movie. All right, so if you guys have seen it, what do you think? I hope this movie gets some notoriety and people go see it. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie. All right, we will see you on the next review.